Have you ever been in one of those situations where you thought you had everything all planned out and then boom, your entire world just gets flipped upside down? Well, today we're going to dig into what to do when life throws you a curveball that challenges everything you believe. And we're going to use the incredible story of Joseph from the Bible as our guide.
So let me ask you, what's your gut reaction when life just completely blindsides you? Do you freeze up? Do you start to panic? Maybe you immediately try to jump in and control the damage. Today, we're going to break down that feeling and, hopefully, find a better way forward by looking at one man's amazing journey of faith.
All right, let's jump right into our case study. We're talking about a man named Joseph from the book of Matthew. He found himself in a crisis that threatened literally everything: his reputation, his future, his faith. And how he handled it, well, it gives us a powerful blueprint.
I want you to try and put yourself in Joseph's shoes for just a second. In his culture, being betrothed was just as legally binding as being married. So to find out your fiancée is pregnant, and you know it's not by you, that wasn't just a personal betrayal. Oh no, it was a massive public scandal. Under the law, it could have even resulted in her death. Think about it. The betrayal, the confusion, the fear, it's a perfect storm of emotions that would push anyone's faith to the absolute breaking point.
Now, this right here shows Joseph's very human reaction. I mean, he's a good guy, he's trying to do the right thing, and his solution, a quiet divorce, is basically a compromise between justice and mercy. It fulfills the law, but it also spares Mary's life. But here's the key. It's a solution that came from his own limited perspective and his own fear, not from divine guidance.
But just as Joseph was about to move forward with his own plan, something incredible happened. God stepped right into the middle of the chaos with a message. And in that one moment, the entire course of history changed forever. It just goes to show you, God's sovereign plan often shows up right at our point of greatest confusion. You see, in a dream, an angel comes and just cuts right through all of Joseph's fear with a message of hope, starting with, "Do not be afraid. This child isn't a source of shame. He's the very instrument of salvation." It's such a powerful reminder that God's purpose is never to lead us into confusion, but to offer us His clarity and His peace, even when we're in our darkest moments. And this slide just lays it out so perfectly. You've got these two paths in front of Joseph. His plan is logical. It's a human response to a really tough spot. It's basically damage control. But God's plan? That's a radical call to faith that will literally change the world. It's a choice between playing it safe and stepping into the great unknown to be part of a divine story. So, how did Joseph respond to this divine revelation? Did he hesitate? Did he second-guess the message? Did he ask for more proof? Well, the answer reveals the incredible depth of his faith. Just look at how immediate his response is. When Joseph woke up, he did. There's no pause, no second-guessing, no "let me think about this." He simply obeys. That's not just faith, my friends. That is courage in the face of total uncertainty. He chose to trust God's word over the very real potential for public shame and misunderstanding.
You see, Joseph's obedience was so much more than just following an order. It was his profound act of trust. He was basically declaring that God's plan was more important than his own comfort or his own reputation. And it was that trust that put him in a position to be part of God's redemptive work, a choice that would end up impacting all of humanity for generations to come.
Joseph's story is such a powerful example of faith in action. But how can we apply these principles to our own lives? What do we do when we're the ones facing a crisis of faith, when the path forward seems completely impossible to figure out? Well, here's a simple three-step framework for navigating uncertainty that we can pull right from Joseph's example. First, you listen for God's guidance. Second, you pause before you react out of fear. And third, you choose to obey. You take that next right step in faith, even if you can't see the whole picture just yet. You know, when you really look at Joseph's story, his crisis, God's intervention, and then his response, it all boils down to one key idea, one single principle that holds the whole thing together. And here's the bottom line. We all want a roadmap for life, right? But faith just doesn't work that way. Joseph's story shows us that true trust means taking that first step of obedience, even when you can't see the entire path. The understanding? It will come, but it often comes after we've already taken that leap of faith.
So when you choose to trust and obey, you're not just making a decision for yourself. You're actually stepping into a story that is way bigger than you can even imagine. Your act of faith, no matter how small it might seem, can be the very hinge on which God moves His purposes forward in your life and in the world.
Just remember, obedience often comes before understanding.
So as you go about your day, I want you to think about this. What's the one step of faith God is asking you to take, even if it doesn't quite make sense right now? Thanks for watching.